Hey YouTube, it's Jenny Brownfield from the Plus One crew, making another video. I sent a post out on Facebook a few days ago, and I asked for any suggestions that people might have about what sort of topics I should cover, and I got a lot of suggestions, so thank you very much for those suggestions. That will make it much easier for me to make videos in the future because I won't have to figure out a topic every week. The first topic that someone suggested was to talk about why plus ones would need support and what kind of support the plus one community provides to one another. So I decided to talk about that because it's a good topic to cover. So why would the WLS plus one need support? I think that there are a lot of reasons, but first and foremost, I think because a plus one will understand much better the things that we go through as partners, as opposed to just like your family or your friends. There are a lot of really specific things that we experience as plus one partners that, although they are similar to things everyone experiences in a relationship, there's little subtle differences. So for example, you know, we've talked a lot about the journey that our WLS partners go through, the changes that they go through. And everybody in life goes through changes. Everybody grows as a person, everybody changes as a person. But I believe that most of the time, these changes take place over long periods of time. There's plenty of time to kind of get used to changes, grow together as a couple or whatever. But with a WLS partner, I think that those changes come much more suddenly. The WLS person goes through a lot of really sudden changes that cause sudden growth, and that can be a little bit different to handle when things change very rapidly. And also just that there are some really specific things that it seems like a lot of WLS patients go through, things that are common to the community as a whole that maybe aren't necessarily common outside of that community. You know, when we go to our informational briefings, at least when we went to our informational briefing, they talked about some of those things. They talked about just that there would be sudden changes in how much attention, you know, the person would receive from the opposite sex and some stuff like that. So those are things that are probably unique to the WLS plus one community, is dealing with those sorts of challenges. So it helps to talk to another person who has been there. So that's kind of why it's a unique journey that we are part of. So the what we talk about stuff, the what kind of support we do stuff, it varies widely. If you looked at any posts that were on the plus one page, or if you know, maybe saw any of the conversations that we had, it runs the gamut from, hey, my partner's about to experience a milestone, I want to do something special, what should I do, that kind of stuff. Valentine's Day is coming up, I can't buy chocolate anymore, anyone got suggestions, stuff like that, that's very, you know, everyday life kind of things. And then there is the really deep kind of stuff of, you know, my partner is undergoing these changes that I don't necessarily like, or whatever. Has anyone else been through that? And I think a lot of it is simply that, is that if we go through these experiences in isolation without other people to talk to, we feel like these things, like we're the only ones that these things are happening to. And that's not the case. If you watch the WLS videos from all the people, you'll see that there's a lot of really common things that WLS patients go through. And therefore, as the plus one, things that we go through. Because although we didn't have the surgery, and it's not really our journey, we are taking a journey. Whether we want to take a journey or not, we're on this journey with them. So we're not in control of the journey. We may not have any input at all in the journey. We don't get to say what the destination is. We don't get to say how long this journey takes. We have very little input, but we're still a part of it, because anything that affects your partner affects you. It just does. So we're kind of passengers on this journey, struggling to to keep up with all the changes and all the things that our partner's going through, trying to be supportive as best as we can. And, like anything else, that also takes a toll on us. So I think it's really helpful when we have someone that we can talk to and we can say, hey, my partner's going through this. Does anyone have experience with this? Because like I said, if you watch the WLS videos, you will see that a lot of people go through kind of, common experiences as WLS people. They go through the common experiences of getting more attention from the opposite sex, or the common experiences of going through that kind of, seems like a lot of people go through some kind of stage where they maybe relive the adolescence that they never had, or that they wish they had, or whatever. And all of those things are going to affect the +1. So rather than sitting by ourselves or trying to talk to someone who is not going to understand that this is a normal part of the journey, it's helpful to talk to one another and say, my partner is going through this party phase, or wants to just party all the time, or whatever it might be. And another +1, I think, is better prepared to say, oh yeah, it's a pretty common thing. My partner went through that too. It'll play itself out. Here's maybe what I did during that, or here's maybe some ways you can continue to support the person, or whatever it might be. Because I think we do all want to support our partners in their journey, and we want to be as much a part of that journey as we can be. But at the same time, sometimes some of that stuff that goes on is difficult for us, and we don't understand why our partner may be going through this, or why they're doing what they're doing, or why they're on Facebook so much, or whatever it might be. So having another person to talk to who is going through that, or who has been through that, can be helpful, because they can support us through all those same things from the spouse side, those same things that our WLS partner is going through. So that's kind of why I think it's important. I've talked a little bit about myself before, and I think some people may or may not know that I was kind of late to jumping on the support bandwagon, and I did not understand that although this was TJ's surgery and TJ's journey, that it was going to affect my life. I really thought that my life would not change really at all. He would make his changes, and we would go about our lives pretty much the way they'd always been, and that is not the case. So for me, I kind of came in on this kind of late, and I feel like I'm always playing catch up, trying to catch up to what's going on. So if people can maybe, talk to other spouses, figure out earlier on, hey, this is going to change your life, whether you think it is or not, whether you think it's your journey or not, it is partly your journey, and you are going to have to make changes to your life. If they can figure that out earlier on, then, hopefully it'll be easier for them. Hopefully they can avoid all of those pitfalls that they talk about when they are giving us the scary briefing, where they talk about high divorce rates and all of that. And maybe they can, just avoid that. So that's kind of why the WLS +1s need support, and need support from one another, and the kind of things that we talk about in the community. So that's it. Hope you have a happy Easter, and see you next time.